guys, this is Max Bernstein. Hope you're having a good day. Welcome to another Overwatch gameplay story time. If you don't know what that is where we, or I should say, I talk about different Overwatch stuff and story times, and you guys get to hear a story today. Now, this story happened around last year when we went to Disneyland. We went to Disneyland with my grandma because she was dying. Yes, tears in the comments. And we wanted to give her something special, so we went to Disneyland, and it was amazing. I love Disneyland, guys. I can never get mad at Disneyland, except for the people that are super annoying at Disneyland. Sorry, off topic. So we went to the best ride ever, which is the Caribbean ride, and I personally love that ride, and my grandma had loved that ride because it was one of the oldest ones there, just like the Haunted Mansion. And so we get in line. It's super long, like always. If you've ever been to Disneyland, since there's not many rides like Disney World, it's pretty packed in every single ride. Like, even the little kid rides are just freaking jacked with people. So we get in line, and it's, amazing. We're super excited, and this random assistant, one of those guys have that little badge that says Disney assistant or Disney director or something like that, came up to us and said that we would be the last people in lines. Please pass it on so that we can make sure everybody gets out of line in time. And you know what? We didn't do shit because we felt terrible having to tell people that they can't ride the ride, right? That's not, and then to be us that lucky to be the last people, it's not, you can't just do that. So we have the people behind us say it because they're like, we're fine with doing that. They were probably super brave, and they were really nice. So we get in the last boat, just like 6 of us actually, and all the person said before we had gotten on that ride that was that we would not be able to ride on any longer because there were technical issues. Quote unquote technical issues. So you know what, we don't bitch about it. We're like, okay, you know what, maybe there really is something wrong with the ride. There's no reason to overtake the ride, make it terrible. There's just no reason, so we get on the ride. We're like, we'll be able to get on at 5 at night, and that's really not that bad for Disneyland. So we're like, that's fine, we'll just come back later. We didn't think about how maybe there's something besides a technical issue that was happening. So we get home that night. We rode the Caribbean. It was amazing. No one told us anything. So we're riding the Caribbean. It's a lot of fun. This was around 5 at night, and then we go home, or should I say we go to our hotel, which, by the way, I love that hotel. So we go to the hotel, and you will not believe, I come into my bedroom, I go to sleep, and I wake up, and my grandma was on the TV, or not on the TV, but she was watching the TV, and I look at her face, and I know something's up. Something has got to be up, but it wasn't like death or something. It was something. So I say hello to her, and she goes, Max? By the way, that's not my real name, but I'm not going to put my real name out there. And I go, what? And she says, that was not a technical issue last night. They kicked us off so that Johnny Depp, the actor for the Pirates of the Caribbean, if you do not know, so he could get on and be with people in their boats. And I just looked at my grandma and I said, are you frickin' kidding me? And she goes, I am not. And I'm like, and for sure, I look at the TV and it says, Johnny Depp goes to Disneyland and surprises fans on the ride. And I just started to scream, Disneyland. Why? It wasn't me that was a super fan. My grandma was like a super fan of Johnny Depp. Like, Johnny Depp all the way, loved the movies, loved him as an actor, and she missed him because Disneyland told us it was a technical issue. So I'm telling you now that if you go to Disneyland and they say there's a technical issue, I'm giving you a heads up that there's a huge chance it's not a technical issue. They've done this to us in the past where the mascot, or like a guy wearing a Winnie the Pooh, or Winnie and I don't remember whatever the heck the movie is called and the franchise, and he was wearing the costume and going on rides with children, and we were kicked off because there was a technical issue, and then we're told come back at 6. This is not our first time that Disneyland has done that to us. It doesn't mean that we absolutely hate Disneyland and we're never going back. I just wanted to tell you guys that technical issues aren't always just technical. Sometimes they're actual, just like Disneyland trying to get you off the ride so they could get actors on there or make other fans really happy. So, basically the moral of the story is Disneyland can be kind of a butt sometimes, okay? Also, you need to watch out. If they say technical issue and you're like, sounds a little fishy, you know, like the way they said it, or there was nothing wrong with the ride, I would just stay, like, next to the ride if you can. Anyways, I have one more story to share from Disneyland that I hope you guys will be okay with me telling you. So, I have never been on a roller coaster. Well, I had never been on a roller coaster, and I had never, ever been to the other side of Disneyland, which is California Adventure, if you've never been there. Excuse me. Sorry, I had a milkshake. And it's not that bad. I'm like, okay, the ride doesn't look that bad, and then you get up to it. I didn't see the loop before I get there, and if you don't know what this is the California Adventure ride, which is a huge roller coaster that goes really fast and goes up and down, like 50 feet, okay, 50 feet up into the sky, and then does this loop-de-loop, which I've seen. There's actually was an accident that people almost died from that thing. So I'm that kind of person that will do research, and I had a whole bunch of accidents in my handbook. And so I'm like, you know what, Max, just enjoy the ride, okay? Don't think about the accidents that happen. Just enjoy the ride. And of course, my uncle was taking me. By the way, he's amazing because he listened to me talk the whole entire time. I'd be like, did you know there was an accident on this ride? I don't understand how he was able to listen to me the whole time. So I get on the ride, we do the loop-de-loop, and I'm like, where's my hat? And he goes, I thought you put it in the satchel. And I was like, I did. Where's my hat? He said, well, the satchel isn't open. You closed it. You put your hat in there. I haven't touched your hat. For a second, I thought he was doing that little joke thing that uncles do where they're like, I secretly took something from you and I'm just making you annoyed. And I was like, Uncle Bill, please tell me, if you took my hat, can I have it back? And he's like, Max, I'm sorry, but I don't have your hat. And I'm still thinking that he's doing that little trickster thing with me. And finally I'm like, okay, you know what, let's just enjoy the rest of the ride. Or it wasn't really a ride, it was just us going back into the deposit. And I then remember seeing a kid's hand like going in front of me, and I'm like, this guy during the ride I was just like, oh my gosh, he must be passed out or something. His hand is reaching all the way back to my saddle. By the way, by the time the ride departs, this kid was out. He ran as fast as he could. He was off the ride and he was gone. He was just gone. And I was like, wow, that kid must have lots of energy. I guess kids are starting in Disneyland with stealing. Like, this kid literally stole my hat out of my satchel. He is so lucky it was not the hat my grandma got for me. He is so lucky. I can't even explain to how I would have been devastated if I brought that hat to California Adventure. Devastated. It had the pins that she gave me. It had everything. And this kid took a $5 Disney hat. I was fine. It didn't kill me. He'd probably sell it on eBay or something, but I wasn't about to go to Disneyland and be like, hey, can you go all through this camera footage to find this guy who stole my... No. So anyways, just be ready if you're going to go on a roller coaster like that. Some kids are actually try stealing your crap while you're on the ride. And I've actually seen some video proof of people doing this. And you know, of course, I didn't search it until this happened. But no kid. Apparently, kids do this all the time to people, not just in Disneyland, but like any rides that are really scary for people or are huge, and you wouldn't think people would risk their lives just to steal a hat or something. Somebody stole somebody else's phone at like some other amusement park. I don't remember much, but I remember finding a couple cases of this. And so I'm like, I'm still flabbergasted that I was smart enough not to bring the hat that I love. I was like, oh my gosh, Max, you're actually smart for once. So I'm like, you know what, let's just relax for the rest of the day or night. Really, it was nighttime, which is the best time in California Adventure, because the towers were completely empty. Like, no lines were there. There was a huge line, like a huge kind of like stop, but it wasn't that bad. And so I'm like, oh my gosh, I get to go into the towers for the first time. If you don't know what that is, I can't remember what the name of them are. What's the name of it? I can't remember. But so we get on the ride, and I'm like, okay, we're going pretty high up. I've been through really high stuff that drops you, so this doesn't really scare me. And in the end, it really isn't that scary at all. So, but that's not what we're talking about. So, I get on the ride. I have another hat that I had to get because with my scalp, it will just completely sunburn. So, my mom always tries to get me to wear hats, and I was like, you know what, fine. I'll wear a hat because the other one was stolen. And so, by the way, it's nighttime. So, I get the hat. I put it on. I'm like, you know what, maybe I'll put it in my satchel just in case, because just because there's a cage around us doesn't mean I'll find my hat afterwards if it flies off my head. So I put it in the satchel. I'm like, I'm pretty sure no one's gonna get this thing. I would be able to see them doing it. So then we start going up and down, up and down, up and down. I'm like, woo, you know, trying to have a good time, but it really wasn't that fun. And then at the end of the ride, no kid, my uncle goes, like, I asked him to go in the satchel and see if he can get my hat for me while he's getting his hat. And he says, no kid, Max, I can't see your hat. And I go, are you kidding me? Are you joking? Are you joking towards me because I was being annoying earlier? And he goes, no. I am not kidding. And I'm like, he's doing that kind of like weird acting thing. I'm like, maybe he's just kidding. And then we get off the ride and he still hasn't given it to me. I'm like, Uncle Bill, where's my hat? And he goes, I told you, I can't find it. And so I then realize someone stole my hat again. And don't go in the comments and say, oh, you didn't close the satchel up. That time I slammed my foot on the satchel because I did not want it to be taken. But I slipped halfway through. It didn't open. I know that completely sure. So basically, apparently there's a lot of thieves at Disneyland. I just want to say that. Anyways, I hope you guys enjoyed my story time. My name's Max Bernstein. If you want to show some love, please like, subscribe, and comment. I also love people that like to reach out to me. It makes me happy. you know, and I also do live streams if you'd like to watch those. I'm still trying to figure out schedules to do live streams, so please bear with me, please. It's hard with my schedule right now. Anyways, hope you guys enjoyed. I will be coming out with another story time next weekend. See you guys later.